But we are in chapter 3, the impossible task. When you see an obstacle, you have a choice. You can either give up or you can get innovative. You can get innovative and you can ask for help. You can find someone who's done this before and figure out what you can do to be successful. No one succeeds alone. So it goes back to this book, This Can't Hurt Me. What Amy just experienced is a living testimony to everything David Goggins is talking about in this book. And what he's gone through in his life, maybe you haven't been in that situation and had a childhood like that. Maybe you haven't had this strong desire to put yourself through hell and become a SEAL, a Navy SEAL, and lose 100 pounds in 3 months and study for this exam that he took in the military that he had to. Maybe you in your life are like, man, I just don't have it that bad. But let me just tell you something. We all have something. We all have something to a varying degree that is holding us back from everything that we desire. We have that one thing. What's your one thing? Can you write it down? Can you verbalize it? What's your one thing? Fear of being judged, fear of disappointing others, fear of exposure, fear of not looking good and being right. So we dive into these books every single day for a reason. And it's not just entertainment. It is so you can really move through the junk and get on the other side. And it all takes hard work. Corey Lauer texts me and Stacy every single day his contacts in Vulcan. And I can promise you sometimes he's texting me at 10 o'clock at night and I know he doesn't want to be doing it. He's been in real estate for a really long time, right, Corey? And I know he doesn't want to be doing that and texting that to us every day. But just so you guys know, Stacy Cotter and I have 5,000 G's of his money. Actually, we only have 4,000 now because he's already lost 1,000.
That's a sore subject.
It's a sore subject that he's already lost $1,000.
Not as sore as the 6 listings that I've taken in a week.
That's exactly right. He's taken, but guess what he has done? He's taken 6 listings in a week. Why? Because he's held highly accountable to do the activities every single day, or he'll lose another 1,000. And oh, by the way, if he doesn't hit his goals this month, I'm sitting in the air conditioning at Keller Williams and he's going to pull my car right up in front of my window and he's going to wash it in front of everybody. And I'm going to film it and put it on social media. We got some really, really high accountability going on with Corey Lauer, but he took 6 listings this week. Time on task over time. He's been calling every day now for what? 40 days. When did we start, Corey?
Let's see, what month is it? It's May.
May.
Like the last week of March, I think we started.
Last week of March. Yeah. And how many listings have you taken? So last week of March, you have to lead generate every day. You have a minimum number of contacts that you have to make every day, Monday through Friday. You get the weekend off if you want, unless you don't do your contacts Monday through Friday. And then, we have to have makeup. But you've been doing that since the end of March. And how many listings have you taken?
I think maybe 10 or 11, Stacy, right? Because I fell short in April and then I've taken 6. So 10 or 11 listings.
Yeah, I would say, I think we're knocking on 11.
Knocking on 11. So it's time on task over time to build into your life by design. And so therefore, when you have listings, you have freedom and the buyers agents are bringing the deals to you, right? when you have a listing, and then I'm going to get off of this and get on the book, but I'm so passionate about listings. And if you were on the sales rally yesterday in Naples, and of course, I know a lot of you are not in real estate, listening to this online, and some of you are in business, but it doesn't matter what your business is. If you need clients, right? If you need clients, then you have to do what's necessary to get clients. And in the real estate game, it's about listings, because in a multiple, if you are the selling agent, this is kind of a trick question. If you're the selling agent in a multiple offer situation, who's guaranteed to get a commission? Selling agent. If there's 15 offers, who's the buyer's agent that's guaranteed to get the commission? One of 15. So to make 30 contacts a day and get 11 listings, I'll take that all day long. Take that all day long. And sometimes it takes Corey all day long to get 30 contacts. All right, so I'm gonna get off of that. All right, here we go. So what's holding you back? What's holding you back? And that is really what I want to hear from today. So I've got some chats here. So I want to ask you a question again, and I'd love to hear from you. Zach and Corey and I have shown up for you. We want to hear from you now. What are the mind shift changes that are happening? How are you thinking differently? How is this changing your day, your morning? Or maybe it hasn't at all, right? Maybe it hasn't at all, and you're still searching for that switch to trip. So I'm going to go to the chat box, and I see in here from Terry, it was a great reminder that was mentioned towards the end of this chapter that says, don't just be motivated, be obsessed. And ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing if you're not obsessed with it? Right? Because you're not always going to be motivated. I love the thing about, when I coach agents and they say, oh, Becky, you just motivate me. And I love it. And yet at the same time, I know motivation is fleeting. Because as soon as it gets hard, the motivation will go away. Right? As soon as it gets hard, you have to be obsessed with it, which is why Gary Keller says you got to know why you're doing it. You got to know why you're doing it. You guys haven't gotten to this, and I'm doing exactly what I said I wasn't going to do, but I kind of started listening to chapter 4 because I try to only read what you guys are reading, so don't go ahead. But one of the things that David Goggins did when he was in Hell Week is he made a decision that the 6 guys with him and the 6, they were getting through Hell Week together. That was his obsession, that they were going to do it together. They were all going to get through. It couldn't just be about him. It had to be about other people too, for it to be real. I love that. All right, next I've got in here, it says, Amy Finnig says, like he said in the book, if you take shortcuts, you will never make it and can cause you an opportunity of a lifetime. Put yourself in a position to win, succeed. Amanda, tell us a little bit more about that. Why did that resonate with you?
So like, for instance, I've been doing a lot of calling and going through my database, and instead of just texting or skipping, because I think I've, talked to them a week ago, just call everybody, you know what I mean? Like, instead of just skipping over somebody, just make all the calls.
Right. And so Amanda Finnick, how many listing appointments have you taken in the last 10 days? Because you text me every time too. And my phone blows up from you.
At least 6.
At least 6.
Yeah.
At least 6. And Amanda's dialing for dollars every day. Let me tell you something, guys. You got to pick up the phone if you want to get listings.
Yeah.
You got to talk to people. They won't just fall in your lap. They might, 1 or 2 a year, but you got to call people. You got to talk to people And you've got to create a gap in their mind of why they need you, and you can solve their problem. And if you're not waking up every day to do that, so between Corey and Amanda, who make cold calls every day, every morning, they're calling expireds, FISBOs, database, between the two of them, they've taken almost 20 listings between the two of them. Raise your hand on this call if in the last 10 days you've set 6 listing appointments. Raise your hand. So you might want to call Corey and Amanda and find out what they're doing, because they're doing it. They're doing it. All right, I want to go next to, it's an obsession. It's a step obsession. Lisa Lagergan says, this was spot on for me in the book. I know if I continue to surrender to my fear and my feelings of inadequacy, I would be allowing them to dictate my future forever. Woo! I know if I continue to surrender to my fear and my feelings of inadequacy, I would be allowing them to dictate my future forever. Forever. Lisa, tell us why that hit home with you, lady.
Well, I mean, without trying to cry, I got a lot of changes going on in my life, and I feel like it's always just been mediocrity, and I've been okay with that. Sorry, I'm such a crier. This is why I haven't indulged in this conversation. But
thank you for being real, and we love you. We love that you're being real right now. Can you guys give her a thumbs up so she encourage her to keep going? We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, so I'm always motivated, like you said, and then motivation just goes out the window after a while. So that saying like was just spot on. Like I'm always just mediocre, and I succeed in something, and then I say, okay, I'll put that on my shelf, so things are like this group, everybody's holding me accountable and making me stronger, and it's great. Like, this book is great for me because it's everything that I deal with in my mind on a daily basis. I'm so sorry. So yeah, it's good. And it gets me fired up to know that people have been in this situation, and everybody's succeeding because they just keep going forward. So that, like, I will write that statement out and put it on my mirror and read it every day. So this has been great. Sorry, guys.
Awesome. Awesome. Lisa, give Lisa applause. Awesome for being vulnerable. That's awesome. One of the things I can tell you about Lisa is Lisa just sold she built a very successful floral business, and she just sold her florist business to jump. She sold her successful florist business to jump headfirst into real estate, right, Lisa?
I did, yes. But you know what, though? I owned the flower shop for 11 years, and like, seeing my numbers, they were just mediocre. And that's what it was. Like, and then when I started real estate, I saw numbers that were fulfilling for me and my family, and I knew that is what I had to jump into. So I'm excited for the changes, and it's like scary, but I know that I did the right thing because I was like sitting in mediocrity for the longest time. So
You got this, girl. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, all of you. Here's the thing, guys. This is so cool because it's pushing us beyond what we feel are our limits. So Zach, Corey, what are you thinking, guys, when you're hearing this? Because you guys have read this book like multiple times, and you are living a lot of these core challenges out right now. I want to hear from you guys what you're thinking.
Zach, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll try to be quick about it too.
Yeah, do your best, will you?
Zach,
This,
did-
this chapter for me, I had to go back. So I kind of blur the chapters. I had to kind of go back and make notes. But for me, this is where it starts. This book is where he starts to callous his mind. And I think everything was kind of leading up to him discovering the superpower that he has. And I think we all have that superpower. And it's literally, it's as simple as just controlling the voice in your head. It comes down to mindset. You know, all the things of the motivation, the being inspired, the this and that. It's just, how do you get to the point where you control the voice in your head, where you become unstoppable? And I think that this is where he starts to find it. I think everything is leading up, even to losing weight, but I don't think he really hit it until this chapter. He started to like feel it, and then he just lets it grow. Like, how big can I make this beast? Like, how much of a superhuman can I be by just controlling my mind? And it's that callousing the mind for him. It's just doing things that suck over and over again, doing the things that you're not great at over and over again. So you learn that I'm in control of the thoughts in my head. You know, that drunk monkey, you start, it's always there, it never goes away, but that's not who's in control. And I think this is where he really starts to, like, for me, this is where I get fired up, you know? So, yep.
I love that, Zach. And you know what you're saying, and I want to say this, and then Corey can jump in, and we're getting close to time, but I want to just, I don't know, I want to tell you what hit me. I'm compelled when Zach just said what he said. Guys, how about the journey that David Goggins was on, right? He's like, raw. He's like 14 years old or 17 or whatever it was, in the mirror, like, you can do this, you can do this. And I mean, he's this accountability mirror. And then in the next chapter, I'm thinking, okay, he's on his way. Here we go to SEAL Team 6 and all this other stuff. And then the next chapter, he's 100 pounds overweight and he's out of the military. I'm like, wait a minute. He went backwards. How many of us have done that? Right? He's real. I love reading stories about people who get there and then they go backwards, and then they get there and then they go backwards. And so what Zach is saying is, yes, I mean, he's in his mid-20s now, and he's finally starting to really build this muscle, this calloused mind. Corey, what are you thinking when you're listening to all this stuff?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it yesterday, so I apologize, but it's again, every time I listen to the book, I hear something different, and then I hear, Lisa sharing this morning, and she got worked up, right? And Zach got worked up the very first day, and I'm sitting here just thinking about how I've got worked up sometimes, even just this morning listening to the book, and I'm several chapters ahead again, right? But there's just so many different, I'm trying to figure out what I want to say. We all have our shit, right? We all have our stuff, excuse me, right? I can't help, Goggins rubs off on me a little bit, right?
It's not some of the more vile
right.
words, because I can handle shit.
Only Cotter has to listen to that. We all have our stuff, right? And so you've got to dig deep and find what you can use with the stuff that you have and use it for motivation, right? I mean, there's 2 or 3 things that really motivate me, and they're not necessarily going well in my life, but I'm so motivated and focused and calloused that I'm just using it for, right? I'm willing myself to sheer will to be more successful. Right. And so, you've got to find, that's what I kind of take onto this chapter. You've got to find what's way down deep that you can use to motivate yourself for whatever it is you're trying to motivate yourself. Relationship, weight loss, business, it doesn't matter. Right. Find what it is that truly motivates you and eat that.
I love that. Find what's going to motivate you and eat that. Because here's the thing, guys, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. Your level of success is what's in your mind and how you picture it. And to hell with what everybody else thinks. They don't live your life. They don't walk in your shoes. And their opinion is none of your business. What other people think of you is none of your business.
That was a lesson that took a long time to learn.
It's a hard lesson, isn't it? And we all fall back into it. I do too. I do too. And then I have to remind myself, it's none of my business. Yes, Kathy, it's none of my business what other people think of me. It isn't. And the only thing worrying about what other people think is going to do is hold you back. Anytime I'm held back, I can tie it right back because I'm worrying about what other people think. And who's winning and who's losing? I'm losing. I'm losing and nobody's winning because my God-given talents aren't being used. Corey, finish this up here, dude.
Two things, right? And they're going to be a little bit cliche, but I think it's Gary, right, that says we overestimate where we can be in 1 year and
Yep.
drastically underestimate where we can be in 5,
Correct.
right? And I bet if all of us take a look at our lives 5 years ago from where we are now, you've probably made some pretty huge strides. Maybe in the last 30, 60, 90 days, maybe not the strides that that you would like to, but again, in 5 years, you've come a long way, right? One of my real estate coaches has always drilled into me that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right?
Yep.
So every day, just get a little bit better every single solitary day, no matter what it is your goal is.
1%.
Yeah.
Get 1% better. Make one more phone call than you did yesterday.
Yeah.
Make one more. All right, guys. This is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. This has been outstanding today. Now it's time for us to get at it. It's time for us to get on the phone, start making phone calls, whatever it is that you're doing today to get your business rocking and rolling. I know for me and for Morgan, it's time for us to get on the dial and start making dials, right, Morgan? We got appointments to set this morning, 6 between the two of us. So we got to get going here. I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning. And again, I'll put this in the chat box one more time. I'll do it every day because we do have new folks that are coming on. This is actually, please download it real quick. This is the 10 challenges from David Goggins. If you're reading the book, these challenges are key because I think that we are going to really be focused on these challenges to be able to move through. I'm sorry, somebody just sent me a private message and it got my attention off. I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time, I'm just telling you. Really key to your growth. And yes, Red Day is tomorrow, but we are doing Limitless tomorrow, even though it's Red Day, okay, with Keller Williams. All right, because this is not a Keller Williams thing. We've got people depending on us to show up tomorrow, Corey and Zach Fisher, and we're going to show up 8:30 here. I'll be doing it from my cell phone, but we'll be here. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.